Obviously, you were well aware of the reports that came out prior to the settling of the suit or grievance between the league and Colin Kaepernick, that Kaepernick was reached out to by the AAF. Is that
true?
By
me.
You personally reached out?
Yeah, Colin and I had a bunch of conversations about it. And I respect Colin. First of all, I respect him as a player. I respect that he has a very remarkable drive and commitment to what he believes in. I also believe he wants to play in the NFL. And so I called him and said, look, if and when the time is ready and you're interested in this, we would love to be the path for you to be able to do that. But I respect if either you can't or you don't want to. And it was great. He met my wife. We had very pleasant conversations. But ultimately I understand where his head and heart is. Well,
was the reason why he didn't do it is why? Can you reveal why he wouldn't join the AAF? Did he?
I think that's his story to tell, not mine.
Okay.
And also I think one of the things is ultimately I think Colin has shown what the power of having your own voice is. And I don't think as a league, as an owner, as a founder, it's my place to put words in the mouths of players. They should have the ability. That was the goal of our league. We created a bonusing system that bonuses players for being, as Heinz Ward says, the CEO of their own brand. We want to give that. I think a lot of the challenges that other leagues have is that the symptoms are what we're seeing of the problems, but at a core, we don't see players as ATM cards for us. We don't see them as commodities. We see them as partners. And so we want to encourage them to be able to do that. And I think hopefully that's a movement we're able to tap into.
Okay, and your answer of that's his story to tell, I understand that, but you also understand my position, so I'm going to
go
follow up.
Please do.
The dollar amount that was thrown out there, was that the reason why?
It's definitely best for me to let Colin answer those questions.
So then let me ask you this. The conversation that people have that he doesn't really want to play football, that he doesn't
I mean, if that's true, I'm surprised because what I saw was a guy that was in the gym 3.5 hours a day. Like, he's certainly, I've known Colin for quite some time. I mean, I did a show with him a couple of years ago for the Super Bowl, and he's a extraordinary athlete, well-built, everything you'd want in that situation. He's certainly maintaining that. So
obviously,
either he's a health enthusiast or he wants to play football.
I am just so understand having this conversation. I am not one of, I don't want to call myself an opinionator or, obviously behind this mic, I have to have opinions and let people know what's going through my temples. I'm not one to say that I don't think he wants to play football anymore, that he wants to be a social activist and use football as the platform. I don't think that. I think he really wants to play football. I just think
ultimately, I think he said he wants to play in the NFL.
Right.
And that, by the way, we are not the NFL. Sorry, we are not the NFL. Right. We are not trying to be the NFL. We're not trying to compete with the NFL. We are, in essence, a symbiotic partner, a developmental league to improve the ecosystem of football. Everything we've done is to create a path for a Trent Richardson to be able to reinvent himself and say, you know what, all of that stuff that happened in the past was me playing for other people. This is me playing for myself. And look what has happened. Look what Garrett Gilbert walked away from a futures contract in the NFL to come play in our league to do that. So if a player wants to do that, we support it. But ultimately, let's not forget, this guy 5 years ago or 4 years ago was in the Super Bowl.
Right. No, and that's and I'm not, because everyone's like, does he really want to play football? I think the guy actually does want to play football.
I think we're quite clear on the fact that nobody has been able to pin this guy down the way they wanted to. They wanted to label him as things. He's this, he's that. Regardless of whether you agree with him or not, you cannot question the conviction, and you can't question what he was willing to put on the line. And the truth of the matter is, regardless of what he decides to do, he certainly changed the game of football and not doing it on the field. And I think, we'll see what he wants to do between the white lines, but he is a force of nature.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.